All right, let's jump right into the unbelievable evolution of Oprah Winfrey. I mean, we all know the name, right? We've all seen the show. But when you actually sit down and look at the data, the sheer massive scale of her journey from local news anchor to global media titan, it is absolutely breathtaking. She didn't just participate in media, she created the exact blueprint for how we consume personal stories today. So let's trace exactly how this phenomenon happened.
First, let's talk about the financial impact, because the numbers here are just, well, they're staggering. By 2014, Oprah had built up a net worth of over $2.9 billion. Billion with a B. And on top of that, an estimated $127 million real estate portfolio. We're talking properties stretching all the way from Chicago to Hawaii, plus a massive compound in Montecito, California. It is the literal definition of a self-made empire. But to really grasp how wild this level of success is, we've got to look at where it all started.
And honestly, it makes that multi-billion-dollar empire almost impossible to fathom when you realize her beginnings. Long before the estates and the networks, her childhood started in rural Kosciuszko, Mississippi. Born to a single teenage mother, she spent her first 6 years living in such extreme poverty with her grandmother that she was actually mocked by other kids for wearing dresses made out of potato sacks. Just think about that. She faced unimaginable adversity and trauma right out of the gate.
Which brings us to Section 1, the Queen of all media.
Rising above that early adversity, she didn't just break glass ceilings, you guys. She shattered them into a million pieces. Becoming the world's first black female billionaire, that is a monumental shift in history. She also became the wealthiest African-American of the 20th century. Forbes didn't just list her as the wealthiest female celebrity, but repeatedly named her as one of the most powerful women on the entire planet.
But you know that raw, undeniable talent she has for communication? It turns out that was there from the very beginning. Her grandmother, Hattie Mae, actually noted that ever since Oprah could talk, she was on stage. Her grandmother taught her to read before she was even 3 years old, taking her to the local church where she actually earned the nickname the Preacher because she was so incredibly good at reciting Bible verses. That magnetic pull she has on an audience, it was totally innate.
Moving into Section 2, From Poverty to Broadcast.
After running away from home at age 13 and facing some truly devastating personal tragedies, she moved in with their father, Vernon, in Nashville. He was strict, sure, but he was incredibly encouraging, and it completely stabilized her life. As Oprah herself says here, he literally saved her. He made her education a priority, and because of that structure, she became an honors student, joined the speech team, and ended up winning a full scholarship to Tennessee State University. Talk about a profound turning point.
From there, her ascent to the broadcasting ranks was lightning fast. I mean, she snagged her first radio job while still in high school in 1971, and by 1976, she was co-anchoring the TV news in Baltimore. But the real magic happened in 1984. She moved to Chicago to host a low-rated morning show called AM Chicago, and in mere months, literally months, she overtook Phil Donahue, who was the undisputed king of daytime talk in the local ratings. Fast forward to 1986, and her show goes into national syndication.
All right, Section 3, Revolutionizing Daytime Television.
Now, I found this part absolutely fascinating. The Wall Street Journal actually coined a brand new term for what she was doing, Oprahification. It was this radical shift away from stiff, formal interviews, moving towards public confession as a totally legitimate form of therapy. She completely blurred the lines between the public and private spheres. You'd see Oprah crying with her guests, openly sharing her own struggles with weight and relationships. She essentially turned the television set into a shared living room.
Time magazine perfectly captured this shift. While traditional hosts like Donahue relied on very rigid journalistic report talk, Oprah leaned into a much warmer, empathetic report talk. The big takeaway here is that she essentially turned the talk show format into a massive, nationwide group therapy session. She made people care because she authentically cared herself. It was an entirely new emotional language for television.
And you better believe this empathetic approach pulled in unprecedented audiences. Just wrap your head around this number. 36.5 million viewers tuned in for her 1993 primetime interview with Michael Jackson. To this day, it remains the most watched interview in television history. By creating a genuinely safe space through empathy, she got the entire world to tune in and listen.
Which leads us to Section 4, the Oprah Effect Explained.
Because this wasn't just about TV ratings anymore. The Oprah effect is a heavily documented phenomenon, proving her word was powerful enough to single-handedly move markets and launch entire industries. Her personal opinions and endorsements started dictating consumer purchasing choices across the entire country. Simply put, if Oprah said something was important or worth buying, America immediately listened and acted. It spread like wildfire.
You can see this influence spreading across completely different sectors too. First up, publishing. Her book club turned totally obscure novels into instant million sellers overnight. Second, the beef industry. This is wild. A single comment she made about mad cow disease sent cattle prices tumbling so fast that Texas cattlemen famously sued her, which, by the way, she won. And third, she started making massive waves in political elections.
Looking impartially at the data here, the political impact is just staggering. Two economists from the University of Maryland studied her 2008 endorsement of Barack Obama. Their estimate? Her support alone generated roughly 1 million votes during the Democratic primaries. It is incredibly rare to see any media figure have such a measurable, direct impact on the democratic process.
Let's wrap up with Section 5, a legacy beyond the screen.
She built an astonishing multimedia empire. Because she was smart enough to negotiate ownership rights to her show super early on, she launched Harpo Productions. From there, her business acumen just exploded. We're talking O Magazine, co-founding the Oxygen Network, launching Oprah Radio, creating her own cable channel with the ON Network, and eventually signing a massive partnership with Apple TV+. She proved she was every bit as brilliant a CEO as she was a host.
But right alongside that razor-sharp business sense, she also emerged as a profound spiritual leader for millions of people. Back in the mid-1990s, she actively shifted her content away from the standard tabloid talk show drama and focused heavily on mindfulness, altruism, and self-improvement. She became a literal guide for viewers seeking purpose. Listening to your inner voice or instinct became this core message that she broadcasted into millions of homes every single afternoon.
And her philanthropic reach? Just as staggering. Oprah's Angel Network raised over $80 million. But honestly, the truly remarkable part is that Oprah personally covered all of the administrative costs, every single dime. That ensured exactly 100% of the funds raised went straight to the charities. This includes her massive personal investment in building a leadership academy for girls in South Africa.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to think about the media you consume today. Think about your favorite podcast host sharing a vulnerable personal struggle, or a YouTube creator sitting down for a confessional-style video. Consider just how much of that traces its empathetic roots straight back to Oprah Winfrey's playbook. She didn't just master the media landscape, she completely redesigned its emotional architecture. It really leaves you wondering, what will the next evolution of empathy in media look like?